Now, getting back to what exactly this means is, or this section of this thread group means is, so let's say if there is any error in the sample, so either we want to continue. Okay, there could be number more than more than one requests. Let's say if we want to have another request, so now we have two requests. So if we do continue, let's say if there is an error on request 1, it will still continue and do the second request. If we say start next thread loop, so that means it will stop it and it will start the next thread loop. It will stop the thread, so that means the user that is, in case if first request fails, it will it will stop this specific thread. Let's say that means, like, let's say all these 10 users are live, and second user for second user the request 1 failed. So for that specific second user, the request 2 will not be fired. Okay, similarly the next one is stop test. Stop test means stop everything, just come out of the test, and then stop test now. That means in case if there is any error, the test has to stop right then and there. Over here it's a lazy stop, over here it's a hard stop. Okay, so let's get ahead. Okay, so over here you will be wondering, like, there is a question mark and then there is a key value after that. So usually the left side is called key, and whatever is after the is equals to or on the right side is value. So these are called parameters. So parameters are based on, okay, there are a lot of times the requests that are fired, they will there's going to be a code for that specific request. Okay, so this specific request, this whole specific request is going to fire a specific code, and that code is expecting some kind of a parameters. It could be any parameter, but it is expecting a parameter. There are a lot of it can expect a parameter and it cannot means it depends on how the code is written. It may or may not expect a parameter. If it is expecting a parameter, then the parameter key, and then the value has to go. And this key value is then going to be read by the code, and it will respond back based on this specific parameters. Okay, so now let's see what exactly do we have in view result tree. View result tree, this section we will have all the requests that are fired. Right now we are not able to see the second request because we did not fire it after we created the second request, but okay. Over here you can see that it has a generic information for the request. Over here you can see there's a load time, how long did it take to load, the connect time, how long did this request took to connect to the server. Okay, this JMeter right now is sitting on a client on a Windows machine, right? And on our desktop. So the desktop is usually considered as a client machine. So how long is this client machine, this desktop is taking, or this JMeter within this desktop is taking to go hit the server? Right now the server that we are hitting is this specific server. How long is it taking to hit this specific server? Okay, uh, latency is, okay, so first the request has to be sent from the desktop to the server, and then the server is going to uh, send the response back. The moment it the very first byte of that response is read or received, that is a latency. So the time taken from firing the request, going to the server, and getting a response back from the server, that's a latency. Okay, then size, everything is how big is the sizes. The main thing that we have to focus is the response code. Over here we can see the response is 200. 200 means that's a good response. uh, there are different kind of responses. 200 means good, 201 means created, 400 means bad request, 404 means unauthorized. No, 404 means not found, 401 means forbidden or unauthorized. So usually 200 response is good response. Okay, so if you want to see like, okay, how the request looked like, over here you can see, so this is the request, how it looks like. This is the request, this is the parameter that we are sending, this is the request, this is the method that we are sending, and over here we can see the headers that we are sending. By default, these are the headers that are sent with the request, and then we have a response data. So this is a response data that we are getting. So this response data is in JSON format. There are two formats, JSON and XML. Please read about it. So both, there is not much of a difference in both. Usually the JSON has key values. So this is a key and this is a value, whereas XML is going to have a tags. Well, moving on. So over here we have a response headers too. So the server is gonna send some kind of response headers as well. Over here, the very first thing that you will notice is we have the status code as well, so which is 200. So now let's fire the request again to see how many times or how many iterations will it do. Okay, so the number of threads is 1. Over here the loop is 2, and over here there are 2 requests. So that means the total number of requests that should be fired is 4, but each request is going to be fired twice. See, so the total number is 4, and but each request is fired twice. So it's going to be in a sequential manner, like first request, then second request, then the user go back and again fires the first request, and second request already.